you angle the knife away from you when you're coming towards you, and you always have a block. And be careful with that tip. You don't want to get into your hand here, so always be mindful where that tip of that knife is at all times and which direction it's going. See how it split out the wood? So you have to come back from the other direction. Now there's other ways of doing this. Instead of having to come back from the other direction, you can still go that direction, but you have to come from the side, like so. So you cut the fibers before they can split, like so. But see how the wood is wanting to split apart that way, so you have to come back from the other direction a lot of times. And this is balsam wood or basswood. I think it's basswood. See how it split out? So you have to come back from the other direction. You have to go with the grain of the wood. See, it doesn't split out that way. And you always have that block if you're coming toward yourself. A lot of people say don't do this and don't do that when you're carving with a knife. And you guys are going to have to overlook the birds. I mean, they wasn't here until I started videoing, so, you know, I live out in the country, so that's you're going to have to deal with that. But anyway, there's technique involved in a lot of things that people say don't do, and it's because they don't know how to do. So just learn how to do. See how it wanted to split? You just come in from the side like that. That's the reason a straight blade is best for carving, is because you can get in there and do that. Now a lot of these moras and stuff that you see, it's got a little bit of a curved blade. The little carvers, it's got the curved tip and all that. That's actually for green woodworking, like spoons and things. It's not for intricate carving, what I would consider carving. They're more for, I don't know, whittling maybe, but they're for green woodworking. It's about pressure. If you're pressing down on the blade instead of out like this, if you're out like this, then you're putting pressure on it, then you're putting pressure away from what you're whittling on, so that blade is going to slip. But if you're putting pressure into what you're whittling on, it's less likely to slip. So it's again, it's technique. And I mean, you can watch videos, you can do a lot of things, read books, but until you get a piece of wood in your hand and a knife, it's one of those things that you're not going to really learn. There's a difference. I say learn because you know it, you have the knowledge, it's just the skill. And you have to bring what's up here down to the hands, and the only way to do that is actually get in the backyard and whittle on a stick. So anyway, so I'm just out here actually testing some knives. I've got these two whittlers, and there's a C also. The C, I'm not, what I did was I put a tooth on a C, but the blade has to be a little bit longer to make that feasible, and it kind of defeats the purpose of a carver, because you want the carving blade to be just adequately long enough, but you don't want it to be too long. It goes back to the saying that I've said many times, is controlling the blade is key to knife safety, and the further you are cutting away from your hand, the less control you have. In other words, if you have a long blade and you're out here trying to carve like this without any support of that blade tip, then you have less control over it. That's the reason a lot of times on the tip, if I have a long blade, I'm doing thumb cuts, because the closer your hand is or support is to what you're cutting, the more control you have. Okay, so on the longer blades, it's best to use push cuts for those. That way you still have control over them. So for a carving knife, again, the pressure, you're applying pressure to that point right there. You're not applying pressure out here, because if you do, then you're going to come out of your cut and it's going to come into you. So if you apply pressure as a downward motion, or a sideways motion in this case, it'll be downward motion like this. But again, it's kind of hard to explain. I hope I'm explaining myself. But you're applying pressure to that point right there into what you're cutting. So the blade is not gonna slip unless you cut completely through this whole block of wood. WC knives is pretty good, but they're not gonna do that. They're not lasers like that. But anyway, so if you're applying pressure down into the material, then you're less likely for that blade to slip. And again, I use the term less likely because you always anticipate that blade slipping. And you have to be mindful of when that blade slips, where does that tip go? So you don't want it to go into yourself or anyone else. But anyway, I'm just out here just whittling on a stick, testing out blades. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really test these little carvers out and to see which one I like. That one is, I like the feel of this one. This is B. It feels good in the hand. It's a wide blade that goes to a kind of a reinforced tip, because the tip drops a little bit right there, but it's it carves very well. It feels good in the hand. This one for a smaller person, the problem I have is I like both of them. So, and you see I was kind of experimenting with a grind here. I only had a piece of 1/8 inch stock, and I knew that was too thick for a carver. So I actually ground it down, thinned the blade down, if you can see that. You can see the blade, thinned it down to about a 3/32 blade. So I killed two birds with one stone. I actually experimented with some different grinds there, multi-grinds. But I like both of these knives, and for the life of me, I can't figure out which one to release. And I see how it just feels good in the hand. It's comfortable. So I don't know. I got to make a decision. And today it's Sunday. It's my birthday, and I thought maybe I'd just get out here and spend a few hours whittling on a stick and just going through some blades and testing them out. I mean, this is my second attempt at a chain. First attempt was a piece of old red oak limb that fell. It had so many knots in it, and it was about half rotten, and my chain links broke. They would always break off because there was always a knot right there. So anyway, ordered this basswood off of Amazon, thinking maybe it'd be a good carving wood to try out some blades with. And this is field lore. It's a C, and if you look at B is the one I've been using. There's just some slight differences. There's a straight edge here and a little bit more of a hook. I brought the saber down a little bit. Has a little bit more belly. Handle is a little bit narrower. So I need to decide between these two which one to release on the field lore. And I'm running out of time. And so I'm just out here, and the only way I know is to just use them and to actually do field trials. And the most you're going to do heavy use with a knife on camp is kind of comparable to whittling or carving. Now you may say, well, I don't carve on camp, which you may not, but you're going to be cutting fire sticks and things like that. But it other applications of extended use has the same effects. So with me sitting here whittling on a stick, it gives me the idea of how well that knife is going to perform as far as the geometry of that blade. Now I know the steel. The steel is going to perform what the steel does, and it just is. But as far as the blade shape and handle shape and comfort and all this other stuff, that's what I'm testing out. And the best way for me to do that is to just get in the backyard and whittle on a stick. That's the best way anybody knows. It's how to learn your knife. So what I do is I just sit here and I'll whittle with one for a while, and I'll switch over and whittle with a different one for a while. And at the end of the day, hopefully, I'll be able to say, okay, this is the design and this is what we're going to go with. Because, I mean, aesthetics is not really the primary function of a WC knife. I mean, aesthetics is I'm not going to say it's not important, because it is. I mean, no matter what we do, we always buy with our eyes. But I try to have aesthetics as probably third or fourth down the line. The primary function of a WC knife is to cut and to do many tasks, do them well. So we're looking for versatility in many different tasks. And again, you're applying pressure straight down into the material. If you're not, and it's a matter of angle of the knife and how you're applying pressure. And a lot of that has to do with design as well. Because if the knife isn't designed, so if this had an upswept blade and you had to hold your hand like this or like this to get that blade straight on the material, then you'd fatigue your wrist. So a lot of that has to do with design and how it's made up for different functions. So anyway, this wasn't intended to be a how to whittle a chain, because I mean, all I know is theory. I actually haven't completed one yet. But I've read books and I've watched videos on it. It's just a matter of completing one. My first attempt, like I said, was a failure. I did get some links, but they split on me. And I'm hoping that's the wood, not my technique. But anyway. So I'm spending a lazy afternoon or morning, Sunday morning, on my birthday, whittling on a stick, relaxing a bit, and just trying out some knives. These prototypes, the Phil Lower and the Master Carver. Taking a break today. Gotta do that every once in a while. I don't know if I'm gonna have this figured out by the first of the month or not, of September. It may be a few days after that before I figure it all out. Decide what to do. But anyway. And I don't even know if I'm gonna have time. This may take several sittings to do this chain. But hey, that's alright. That's good too. You don't want to get in a hurry. first time I ever carved them. Where wood this is? I think it's basswood. It's carving wood. It was ordered off of Amazon. It's carving wood. Ugh. We don't have any of this stuff around here. I mean, about as close as you're going to get to carving wood around here is sycamore, or you can find some cottonwood every now and then. Alright, well, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try out my knives and figure out which one I'm going to release. I like them both. I really do. Maybe it's a Master Carver 1 and a Master Carver 2. I don't know. I think that, I mean, this one, the blades are, this one's a little bit shorter. But no matter what, the thickness of the blade is going to be thin. This is 3/32, so I'm thinking that that's probably the thickness of the blade it's going to be, because it has enough strength to take care of some abuse, some minor abuse, but it's still thin enough to do some good carving, to get in there in those tight places. I do like that tip, how that tip comes down, because it seems to be a stronger tip than this one, even though I haven't damaged that tip in any way. But this worn clip style blade is very forgiving, if you will, because when you do break the tip off, and it's when, it's not if, it's when, if you're carving with a knife, you're going to break the tip off. Is you just take it on a stone, and all you do is just sharpen that tip back down. You don't have to worry about any of the belly or anything. So it's very easily repaired. So, and two, that worn clip style point is very precise. I mean, you can get in there and do those triangle cuts like so. And it's very precise. And if you have what is considered a green woodworking blade, like one of the Moors, a lot of the Moors, they do have one that's a worn clip style, but or a sheep's foot style. But most of their green carving blades, it's difficult to do that because you have to get at awkward angles to get that tip in there like that. So most of the actual wood carving blades is a worn clip type blade for that reason. It's because it's very precise. But I like that. It feels good in the hand. This one does too. It's just a little smaller. But even with that said, I mean, my hands hasn't cramped up. Get that tip in there. It pops out. So, anyway. But I think that way that tip drops down like that seems to perform a lot better, the way that is. And it seems to be a little stronger as well. So I think that tip is a go. It's the matter of the width. And it seems to do well with that width. So, anyway, gonna keep whittling on a stick, and I just really like that handle there. or big. I want to say big. It's not a carving knife, wood carving knife. It's probably more of a green woodworking. You can probably call it that, by the way that from this point here all the way up. It's got that point there to where you can take some wood off. And choke up on it, get that tip in there. It's got plenty of width to grab the blade. Again, you're bracing. This part's hitting your stomach. It's not the blade. And you're pressing into the material with pressure. Most of the time using a knife, it's all about pressure and angle of the blade. Alright, well, this is going on 25 minutes of me rambling. So, anyway, I thought I'd let you guys in on a few little tips and, I won't say tips, but some things that I've learned whittling on sticks. Hope they're helpful. You guys enjoy your day. Tomorrow I'll do an update, a 2-week update on where we're at on production. So look for that video tomorrow. And to the end, you guys enjoy your weekend. Thank you for all of your happy birthday wishes. I appreciate each and every one of them. You guys are awesome. I mean, the phone, I'm using the phone to video, and I can't see the screen most of the time for people wishing me happy birthday. So anyway, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. Well, I would be doing this, but I wouldn't be doing it for a living. So anyway, till the next one. You guys get in the backyard with a long stick. Be sure and take a child with you, get the opportunity. And don't forget those plenty of band-aids and lots of knives. We'll catch you again very soon.